Normally we shoot the captain sessions on the boat, but you're currently running Lady Moura, and she's in Geneva.
She is at the moment there for a few months for a bit of a spruce up and a refit.
Yeah. And then before that you run a Stecker, and that's what you got your Master Unlimited award on a Stecker. Welcome to the channel, and every week I say we got something special, but today I've got an honor because I'm here with the first ever winner of the Captain Mastered Unlimited, Captain Rafael Cervantes Mataix. Welcome.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. And what year was it again that we did your awards?
That must have been the first one, which was 2018.
Yeah, it was in Nice, and it was in this beautiful old theater. I think it was a special night because we'd never done it before, and then and it was the year that we actually met each other. Then.
Yes.
So
yes.
that was
fabulous venue.
Yeah. So well, we'll be in Barcelona in 2 weeks, and and let's see who wins then. But not about that. I think I'm together with someone that I very much admire. You've been in the industry for over 20 years.
Yes, 1997 was my first job on a yacht.
Yeah. Just imagine, and for anybody that wants to know a little bit more about Rafael, Google him, because there is a article, an interview that he tells his life story, and his life story on sea, I must say, because it starts with you being a diving instructor in Mexico.
Yes, that's correct. It all started through the diving end of things.
Yeah, and then you also mentioned, and you said it again earlier when we did a little bit of pre-chat, you're happy with your career, but you consider it luck, right? A lot of luck happened your way. Pasa. We ordered some drinks.
Con poca cerveza para el señor.
Sí, por favor. We're getting a drink, guys. So we're gonna take that moment.
Gracias.
To your help.
Cheers. Indeed.
Because we're not on the boat. Normally we shoot the captain sessions on the boat, but you're currently running Lady Moura, and she's in Geneva.
She is at the moment there for a few months for a bit of a spruce up and a refit.
Yeah. And then before that you run a Stecker, and that's what you got your Master Unlimited award on a Stecker. So
yeah. I was actually on a Stecker up until a few months ago, up until middle of June.
Yeah.
And then the owner purchased Lady Moura.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to put her together in a mad rush and do a bunch of changes, and then managed to have a very, very good, busy, successful summer that just finished a few days ago.
Well, thank you again for joining me. So what we're discussing today is I'm going to see if we can get some inside information out of Captain Rafael, because everybody's always asking me, how do I get on the short list of a captain? How do I get hired as a service provider? And Rafael has agreed to share a bit of that insight. And but then again, I mean it. Read the story, because it's an amazing story how he was diving in Mexico, and then he got asked by the president of Mexico to dive with him, and basically that brought you to a vessel. And
not directly by him, but he was the president of Mexico at the time, was a very avid diver.
Yeah.
And going to a very remote area in Mexico that I had quite a bit of expertise because I've been working there for a couple of years. So the captain of a sailboat, of a 35-meter beautiful Ron Holland sailboat, asked me to come and act as a diving guide for the weekend.
Okay.
And through a series of fortunate events, I ended up staying on that boat not only the weekend, but the following 9.5 years. And that's really how my yachting career started.
Yeah. So, and a bit of luck, but I call it also a lot of strength and competence. But we like luck, so let's stick to luck. Let's dive into it. Let's how do you select a service provider contract? And I don't take I only look at the best price or only look at the best quality, because I think there's more to it.
There is, there is. I couldn't agree more. When you initially asked me about this, I kind of had to rake my brain a little
Yeah,
bit, kind of think how do I choose those service providers? Um, the first vessels that I ran
mm,
early in my career were very small, where I didn't have an engineer or seldom had an engineer.
yeah,
So there was a lot of the systems that I had to take care of myself.
yeah,
I think that's a very good way to kind of cut your teeth. It gives you a bit of an understanding, and it's bigger boats are more complex for
yeah,
sure. The equipment is bigger, but there are many things that you will have on a 30, 40 meter boat that are just about the same as you have on a 100 meter boat.
yeah,
Everybody has generators and main engines and water makers and VSAT and so on and so forth. So when you start on smaller boats, you develop a more intimate knowledge of how all of this operates.
yeah,
Um, where I'm leading with that is when you hire somebody to do a job, you probably have a good understanding of what they are required to do.
yes,
And that really lets you choose very quickly between the people that you know that are doing a good job and the ones that are not. And very slowly, little by little, I feel that I have built a team of people that gives us support on the boats based on trial and error, quite frankly.
okay,
A lot of it comes from word of mouth, from recommendations from other colleagues, from engineers.
hmm,
On the bigger vessels where you have a management company, if you're fortunate enough to have the support of a good management company, they do have quite a considerable amount of resources.
yeah,
So they will be able to offer you people to talk to. Most of the time, the final decision still stays with the captain, and I
yeah,
believe that that's the way it should be. It should be. Management companies are great, but at the end of the day, the one that is going to be answering for the finances and the state of the vessel is the captain.
of course,
So I think a lot of management companies bring a lot to the table in the sense of support and in the sense of companies that perhaps I wouldn't have known that they have used before with other vessels and again had good and bad experiences. And I think a lot of the providers that getting sorted out like that. Word of mouth again, I think it's a tremendous amount of the decision making.
because the big difference with corporate, right? In corporate, you would have like a request for proposal, or you would have to put in a bid. Here, you basically first ask around. It's like, okay, who do you know? If you don't have someone yourselves, guys, he has his shortlist, so there's no need to start sending him emails and DMs and calling. Although there's always room for improvement, but this is more like, okay, how do you build your network? So, and I want to circle back to the trial and error that you mentioned, right?
Yes.
Because if I were a new company and I were to do whatever, right? How do I get myself for you to try me? What do I need to do? Something? What is a way for me to get my first step on the vessel?
That is a good question. I'm gonna circle back to the luck
Yeah.
at times. Many times it's just for the service provider to be in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
To give you an example that just came to mind, this is probably 20 years ago or so. I had just taken over my first command on that sailboat, and we had sailed to the Galapagos Islands. Internet was scarce at the time, it wasn't as available as it is now. So we roll up there with an agent, and it was the one guy that we had heard of,
Yeah.
and start all of our process for our visit in the Galapagos with that agent. Very soon, it became very apparent that whatever he's offering and whatever he's saying that he can do, it's actually not true.
Okay.
Just a few days later, I met another agent, smaller company, who were very candid and very honest, and I was asking, hey, can we do this? Can you get this done? Can you get this done? They were, no, we cannot. What we can do is this and this and this, and then they actually stuck to it. So I think that's one of the main things that I would suggest is like, for any service provider, if you're asked to do something and you can't do it, be candid about it. Just say, hey, no, I cannot do that, but I can do this. And that, from my point of view, it just goes into the work ethic and into the, I know that what they tell me, they're gonna deliver. And maybe they won't do what I need them to do, but what they're telling me that they're gonna do, if they do it, that goes a long way.
So there's trust.
Yes.
And trust is a big thing. I mean, I think like one of the key, I mean, you're a captain, like, it's the safety of the vessel, the safety of the guests, the safety of the crew. Anything that you can do to not jeopardize that, and it also has to do with the service provider you choose, right? Safety comes first.
Of course. If you're talking about machinery or systems or something or other, you don't want to have an incident with that, and you want to have that trust in the person. And again, it happens to me as a captain as well. I'll have the owner sometimes ask me, hey, I want us to do this, and I'll go, I can't. I can do this instead. Would you like to try that? But I'd rather disappoint him to begin with, and then offer him a realistic scenario, than turn around and say yes, and then not be able to deliver.
I'm going to take 2 points out there, right?
Yes.
I have to go in depth. One is the being candid, because being candid doesn't fit every culture and every nationality.
Yeah.
So, I think that's one of the tips I'm taking out of it. Be candid, and there's a difference between being candid and being polite. Saying yes is not polite if you cannot do it. But like sometimes people are afraid to say no, or they beat around the bush. I think in yachting you have to be very straightforward. I'm Dutch, so I'm used to that. I can understand that it's more complicated for some other cultures or nationalities. What I also take out is the luck part, because isn't it true, to be lucky you have to be there?
Yes.
To be lucky you have to be present, you need to network, you need to know people, because you need to be reminded, or at least you need to be top of mind with someone. It's like, because the day that you're disappointed in, or maybe not disappointed, let's take the positive, the day that you need someone, you'll think of the last person you've met that could do it and that you had a good feeling with. Yes. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And going back to what you mentioned, pardon me, luck is also being there, and not only being there, but seizing the opportunity. And I think there are many ways to define luck, but I think that for service providers is, yes, the presence has to be there, and then when given an opportunity, really jump on it. I think that has a lot to do, or would equate to what we were calling luck.
Yeah, I mean, we're calling it luck, and that's going to be the new buzzword in yachting for the next few years. Luck, you know? But it's luck is something you generate, right? And luck is something, but like it is tough though, because I know a lot of agents, service providers, contractors who are excellent at what they do, but a bit shy, or they feel that it's impolite to introduce yourself to someone, or to push yourself forward, and then they're always the ones. You always got the few ones that are very good at networking, and they get to meet everybody, and therefore they create their own luck.
Yep.
And they have got less of that opportunity. Would you have a tip for those, because they are normally craftsmen or craftswomen as well?
Yes, there we're kind of now jumping into a section that is quite interesting. Because of the way that I like to do things, I would suggest to everybody, just go introduce yourself. Of course, there's no need to be pushy about a service, but you can say, hey, this is what we have to offer. Are you interested? Please give us a call.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, or rude or pushy about that.
Yeah.
And it does kind of, at least you put the foot in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can tell you how many times I get called to the passerelle because somebody's trying to offer a service or another. Some of them, end up being long-term providers for us.
Exactly.
Yes, I do have a short list of the people that I have worked for many years on different areas. But again, we're always open to new services, new technologies, particularly nowadays, the advances in technologies for all sorts of things is so rapid that perhaps what certain companies were doing some time ago becomes obsolete. And now you have newer companies that are going with newer technologies that are more efficient, maybe even cheaper. An example that comes to mind, with air compressors, the air conditioning compressors.
Yeah.
We're doing a big refit on Azteca for that. I have a company that I have used for air conditioning for years and years and years. They are not offering the newer technology that is more energy efficient, greener, less pollution, etc., etc. I'm not using them for this purpose. I'm using somebody that I've never used before, but that they do have quite a bit of an edge, and that is another deciding factor, for instance.
Yeah. I think, guys, it's been quite a bit of a chat. I don't know, we're probably like 10-15 minutes in, but it gives so much insight. So I'm delighted with what you just said with us. I think you don't even realize how much you shared. And I think that's like there's quite a few things for the good listener to take out of it. So
my pleasure.
We're finishing our beers. Thank
Yes,
you very much,
good.
Captain, and happy days.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.